Good, mo- good morning, everyone. We welcome you to UUCP and our weekly online worship. I'm Sam Kirkland, your worship associate for today. Our minister, Christine Dance, is taking a much deserved Sunday off, and I'm excited to welcome to our service Anthony Mtuaswa Johnson, minister of Humboldt Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, who was recently granted fellowship by the Unitarian Universalist Association's Ministerial Fellowship Committee. Congratulations to you and to the UUA. Minister Johnson served as our Director of Congregational Life last year. Anthony, it's a pleasure to welcome you to our service today.
Yeah. Greetings and blessings, gracious ones. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate that. So, greetings and blessings, gracious one, and the rest of y'all too. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Sam gave me that intro, and I would just like to welcome you in the name of the ancestors upon whose shoulders I stand, and I welcome you in the name of all that is holy and sacred to you. Welcome. It is indeed a pleasure to be here this morning. This beautiful morning in this virtual space via Zoom. As Sam mentioned, I'm currently serving as the minister at the Bayside, California, Humboldt Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. So I want to give thanks to the Reverend Christine for the invitation and for all of you all welcome me back here. So now let us read our UUCP covenant together, if you would please. Love is the doctrine of this congregation, and quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek freedom, to seek knowledge in freedom, to share our strength in fellowship. Thus do we covenant. Let us do our chalice lighting. I hope y'all can see this one. I'm going to light this chalice. So with the rekindling of this flame, let us honor our gifts. Those gifts are the gifts of grace and gratitude. And let us use those gifts to bless the world in a spirit of love. So I'm coming to you live from the California County of Humboldt in our times of tumult, in our time of pandemic, which I shall address a little later. So let me share the words, the welcoming words of the UU Congregation of Dublin, Ireland. And they say, and I quote, "We do not ask what you believe or expect you to think the way we do, but only that you try and live a kind and helpful life with the dignity proper to that of a human being." So welcome all who do believe that religion is wider than any sect and deeper than any set of opinions. Welcome all who might find in our friendship strength and encouragement for daily living. End of quote. So today's message is entitled Wisdom in Today's World. Jonathan Jenna teases us and reminds us that true wisdom comes in understanding that sometimes you are both the prison and the key, that we may be our own prisons and yes, possess our own key. And when I hear that word key, it reminds me of that key to the universe slogan and phrase I've heard, but I'm here to remind us just to, what if, and this is what I believe, that the universe has no key, has been left, in fact, unlocked, and that wisdom is ours for the taking and for the making. So when the topic of wisdom comes up, the usual images conjure up. I would think, the PhDs, the diplomas on the walls, wrinkles in the older person's face. So we get the message that wisdom is about accumulation. If you want to be wise, you need to pile stuff on, more knowledge, more learning, more books to read, more gurus to follow, more degrees to get. But there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. What have others said about that? Martin Fisher reminds us that knowledge is a process of piling up facts. Wisdom lies in their simplification. Literary master Lin Yutang says, quote, besides the noble act of getting things done, there is also the noble act of leaving things undone. The wisdom of life consists in the elimination of non-essentials. So let this be a reminder that the math of wisdom is often the opposite of what we may be thinking. Maybe it's more a game of subtraction than addition. Often accumulation of knowledge does not get us closer to wisdom. Sometimes it's just in the way. There's a sort of simplifying that needs to happen. Dare I say, a stripping away that needs to occur. It's about knowing and unknowing. Think about how deeply we get tangled with that. The cultural wise messages about money and success or degrees and the SAT and IQ tests. We get status and truth mixed up, or the way political parties, science, and yes, religion say claim to have all the answers. Maybe this is why Sufi poet friend of mine, Hafez, wrote, quote, the beloved sometime wants to grab us, to do us a big favor, hold us upside down and shake us till all the nonsense is out. End of quote.
Anthony.
Yes.
This is Benji Messer. I'm going to ask you if you would be willing to save the rest of your sermon for a little later in the service.
Sure
we
thing.
have a few things to cover first.
Oh, yeah.
Is that okay?
Totally okay.
Awesome.
Totally
It's
okay.
so good to have you with us this morning.
So good to be here.
Again, everyone, welcome to our virtual worship. UUCP strives to be a spiritual community for our time, focused on diverse theological perspectives, radical inclusion, justice, and equity. You are all so welcome here, your whole selves, your whole families. It's wonderful to have you here. You've met Anthony Johnson and you've met Sam Kirkland. I'm Benji Messer, music director. Let me introduce the rest of our worship team this morning. Mary Coda, our pianist. Mary, say hello. Thanks. And Katie Resendez, our director of children's ministries. And behind the scenes, our AV team today is Carol Benwell, Justin Walgren, and Stephanie Bridell Vigil. Thank you all so much. Amy McClendon is our moderator. She'll be typing in the chat if any of you have technical problems or need assistance. She'll be the one reaching out to you in the chat. And now I'll bring Sam Kirkland back up for just a few announcements about things happening in the life of our community. Sam?
Thanks, Benji.
You bet.
A few announcements. This week, we'd like to highlight a few of our programs. To receive emails about our programming every Friday and Tuesday, please sign up on our website. We had a great turnout for our first Death Cafe on Thursday. We will be continuing this weekly on Thursday at noon with Reverend Christine. This coming Thursday, we'll be discussing grief, including the new concept that people have been dealing with, that of anticipatory grief. We are also bringing back a weekly evening Vespers service every Wednesday at 7:30. Come join Reverend Christine for music, contemplation, poetry, and prayer. This week's community night activity will be sharing special items from our home as a way of connecting to each other. It will be led by our own Joan Gale at 6 p.m. And I encourage you to review the social justice opportunities in Compass. Imagine them as your virtual civic engagement table at the back of the sanctuary. There are petitions to sign, and there will be a caravan protest on May 1st, where we can protest keeping migrants in detention camps while COVID-19 are ravaging such places. Also, we want to make worship and these programs as accessible to everyone as possible. If you know anyone who can't get on Zoom for any reason, they can access our Zoom help desk at UUCP Zoom support at phoenixuu.org. Now I turn it over to Benji for our first hymn.
Good morning, all. So please join me in a song of welcoming. This is one of Reverend Anthony's favorites, so I'm glad to bring it back while he's here, while he's with us. The lyrics will be in the chat. You're welcome to sing along or just listen. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of living, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of living, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come, yet again come, yet again come.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Katie Resendez. I'm the Director of Children's Ministry here at UUC Phoenix. This morning, I want to talk to you about something. First, something you know about. Most of us at this point know what coronavirus is, right? It's the reason we have to wear masks, why we're practicing social distancing, why we're washing our hands so good, taking good care of the people who are sick and the people who get sick easily in our lives. Coronavirus has asked us to do a lot of work, and it feels like a huge burden, but there's something else, something scary. And I'm worried that some of you don't even know about it. It is a dastardly group called Corona Pirates. Do you know about Corona Pirates? Corona Pirates take all sorts of stuff from us. Some mornings, they take the will to get out of bed. They're so devious. Some mornings, Corona Pirates make it so that the only thing that you want to eat is the most delicious onion and cheddar omelet from Joe's on 7th Ave. And it's the only thing that will satisfy your hunger, even though you can't go there. Sometimes Corona pirates rush into your life and steal all the ideas you had for the beautiful picture you were going to draw. Sometimes they put rips in your jeans that you had been planning on getting new ones. Corona pirates are hard. They're hard to combat, they're hard to see, and they're really hard to acknowledge, because with coronavirus and the luxury of staying at home, we all feel like we should be moving right along and that this has been going on long enough that we're fine. But the thing is, I think Corona pirates have been waiting for us. They've been waiting for us to lull ourselves into the shoulds and all the expectations and start to build up shelter-in-place expectations, pandemic expectations, so that they could rush in on their terrifying Jolly Roger and take away things like our excitement and our investment in things, and even begin to taint our good memories. So, one of the best ways, and maybe the only way I can think of to combat Corona pirates some days, has to do with that poem by Hafiz, and it's shaking them out. So, if you're at all able, maybe with just your hands, or maybe with your head and hands, or maybe your whole body, or maybe turn yourself right upside down and shake it out. Shake, 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 shake. It terrifies Corona pirates. They are afraid of people shaking and quaking and thrashing. It is probably one of the best ways. Okay, kids, a message for all my science kids. Grown-ups, I know you won't understand this, so this is just for you. But the shaking actually works, because when we move around like that, especially when our hands cross in front of each other, in front of our face, it actually helps our brains, because it helps the messages and different things that we're trying to build up go from one side to the other. And so in shaking, you're defeating the Corona pirates. But don't tell your parents, because we know if you tell them the sciencey part, they'll be like, oh, I don't want to do it. Just remind them, if there is a Corona pirate invasion in your home, to turn yourself upside down and shake, 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 because you can totally defeat Corona pirates. You are amazing, and I love you so much, and you are so very loved.
Thanks, Kate. Friday, I found myself in a socially distanced queue to pick up a barbecue feast. And I realized that my problem wasn't with my food order, that it was with wrapping my humanity around being quarantined. I'd waited in one line to find out that the process, okay, did I do something wrong? Should I start over?
No, you're good.
So you heard Friday, I found myself in a socially distanced queue to pick up a barbecue feast. And okay, all right, thank you. I waited in one line to find out that the process called for an additional step. As I went out to pay for my food, I was a bit out of sorts, and I was looking for a culprit. I explained to the young woman behind the cash register that I thought the policy could have been explained more understandably. She apologized and said that I wasn't the first customer to make the same complaint. As she finished our transaction, and I asked her how she was getting through the pandemic, in that moment, in Star Trek lingo, I took my phasers offline and we both dropped our shields. We looked at each other and she acknowledged that she'd had better days. I also remembered that when I backed out of my driveway, how grateful I'd been just to have a reason to take a simple and somewhat risky car ride. I looked at the young woman as she replied, and I apologized for taking my frustration out on her. I could see the weight lift from her and my anger dissipated immediately. With this time I have to really reflect on this world, I think about all the changes we need to make and what these very few weeks of quarantine have already proved. Human connection is very important, even in the littlest doses. Try to ask people how they are and try to listen. Remember to smile behind your mask, and that grace and gratitude are just as important as any antidote or vaccine that science will inevitably create to cure COVID-19. And that fortunately, the grace and gratitude are in us at all times. Now we turn to our offering. UUCP is our home, and through the good and the bad, the ups and the downs, we are here for each other. Part of being here for each other is learning the technology, having a nimble and responsible staff that helps make the pandemic palatable. However, this comes at a cost, and there are so many of us making radical readjustments to our priorities, materially, physically, and spiritually. At this time, I ask that you consider your pledge and contribution to sustain our beloved community. Thank you, Mary. Now it's time for joys and sorrows. It is the time when we share the joys and sorrows of our community. Being together, it is good to share, to support each other, and to connect. I want to invite any of you to send a private chat message here on Zoom for me to read with any joys, anything that you may see that is a joy, that is giving you joy. If you want it to be private, only to me and not to be shared, please put the word private at the beginning, and I won't say it out loud, but will hold it in my heart. And as you do, I'll share one of my joys. Our daughter, Shannon, is visiting with us for a month, and will be working from our home for the next month. Okay, Amy, what we got? Looks like one of Jan's joys might be that Reverend Anthony is in the pulpit today. Yay. I've reconnected. This is from Valina, and it looks like she's saying that I've reconnected with some childhood friends and we Zoom weekly. No, that was from Debbie. Okay, and Valina, I bought some new plants and potted them this weekend. Mary McManus, the Arcadia High School, finally put in a non-punitive grading system, meaning nobody's grades will suffer because of the pandemic. Pierre Tarot, so happy that my family, friends, patients are all well, worried about all in harm's way, including 3 in our family. Dave Bellama, thank you to Carol Lee Peterson, and Ann Izell for making wonderful masks for us. Laurel, oh my God, you're getting away from me. Hang on. Can I go back? All right. Sorry, first time doing this electronically or virtually. Okay. Laurel Harden, I discovered that I have 2 Molly Katzen cookbooks on my shelf. Yum! Francis Wiggett, private.
It's marked private, Sam.
Gotcha. Sorry. Thanks, Benji. Walt D, my neighbor and friend, is coming home from rehab today. Sorry, Francis. From the Perez family, Nigel is joyful that he made a swing on the tree outside. And also from Walt, it's a sorrow, still can't go out. I want to see my UUCP friends. Okay. Any other joys? Okay, Annalise says Lobo is learning not to bark at everything on walks. And Christina Foster, I'm blessed to have you as my family. We love you and glad I can see you, Christina and your Foster family. Yay! Johnny Leafshit says, joy for all of our UUCP family that can give Reverend Christina morning off. I know that's right. Good to see, Francis says, good to see Anthony again. From Sunshine Watson, we got a successful virtual event at work. I got together with a couple of my fellow Toastmasters for the first time yesterday, and that's from Galaxy J3. From Seisha, we have Terry and Eliza tracked for 3 hours, a duckling in a canal with a straw stuck in its beak. They eventually caught the duckling and removed the straw. That's great. Connie, Larry, Richard Yarmark's brother, came home from the hospital and is healing. That's from Connie and Richard Yarmark. Virginia Whiting, Carol Lee P. surprised me with a gift of masks so I can be safe while rideshare driving. Many thanks. From Bill Snowden, we love the dance party on Friday and posted it. From Amy Marie Miskell, thank you to all who are staying home to flatten the curve. Indeed. And from Francis, met a couple neighbors yesterday, good folks, dog lovers, nice to make connections in the neighborhood. From Melissa Thiesing, has a friend who is trying to find a home for a cat and her 5 newborn kittens. Anyone interested, text Melissa at 602-577-1986. Love this service. Oh, thank you. Emily Hilton Riley says, how can I send a message to Sam? That's tech. Is Lalana Dojo is sleeping happily in the parents' room? Any other joys? Joys. Okay. And inevitably, there are the sorrows. Now I invite you to send a private. Now I invite you to send a private chat message here on Zoom for me to read with any sorrows that you may have. And as you do that, remember, connect with each other through neighborhood connection groups, need or can offer help. Email uucphelplist@gmail.com. If you experience symptoms of coronavirus, please reach out to Reverend Christine. If you have lost your job or had hours significantly cut, please reach out to Reverend Christine. And I'd like to send prayers of love and comfort to the families of Lynn Marie Smith and Marie Skip Turner, beloved friends and business partners. Lynn Marie lost her mother, Eileen K. Jones, and Skip lost his brother, Red Turner, due to complications from the coronavirus. Sorrow from Susan Morris. Duke's Aunt Marion died last week of COVID-19. She was 90, so had a long life, but so sad that she died without having her loved ones with her. Gary Azell says one of my longtime co-workers was furloughed last week. So sorry. Katie Jarms, my father passed away on April the 11th, and we are not able to hold a service for him for the indefinite future. Luckily, he got out of the hospital the day before he passed, so we were able to see him before he passed. My God. Sorrow. From Debbie, I couldn't attend my cousin's funeral. She passed away suddenly, unrelated to coronavirus. From Francis Wiggett, mixed joy and sorrow. Joy that Lynn McVean finished her presentation for her banned books class. Sorrow that her classmate lost an uncle to the coronavirus. From Mary McManus, my friend Ezra's mother has had awful symptoms that they suspect is COVID-19. She is only 34. From Francis, again, we miss Larry Duke, longtime handyman for UUCP. Think. As always, Larry passed a month ago, Francis said. As always, there are the joys and sorrows that are too tender to mention. And we're all embroiled in that right now. And we're together as a beloved community, and prayers to us all. And now, Anthony Johnson.
Thank you, Sam. So let us take a moment to reflect on the joys and sorrows that we've just heard about and the ones we may carry in our heart. A moment of silence and meditation. We may think of that nameless one with so many names: Isis, Moses, Jesus, Confucius, Allah, Buddha, Krishna, Jehovah. He, she, whatever you call it, whatever you will. For the next moment, peace be still. A moment of silence, please. Again, call him, her, it, what you will. Peace be still. Blessed be.
Our choir has missed singing for you. So I'm very excited to play you a video that we've created during the last few weeks, each of us singing from our own homes. The song is thought to have come from the South African anti-apartheid movement, and we sing it to everyone who needs a reminder that they do not walk alone.
Courage, my friends, you do not walk alone. We will walk with you and sing your spirit home. Courage, my friends, you do not walk alone. We will walk with you and sing your spirit home. All right.
All right, indeed. Beautiful. So today's reading is from a fellow colleague, one Lynn Unger, entitled Pandemic. It opens up with the question, and then I will quote, what if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel, cease from buying and selling. Give up just for now on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing, pray, touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are both terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny it now. Know that our eyes are in one another's hands. Surely that has come clear. Do not reach out your hands. Reach out your heart. Reach out your words. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live. Blessed be. So, again, with all of our wants, as Hafez says, that the beloved has shaken all the nonsense out of us. So with all the nonsense shaken and stripped away, maybe what we notice most is not so much the pearls of wisdom, but the sources of wisdom that we may have forgotten. You see, when reason and logic hog the spotlight, the wisdom of the body rarely enters the room. When week-long retreats with the Nourish Guru define the path of wisdom, we stop asking what our failures and mistakes have to teach us. When experts sit in the center, the wisdom of those on the margins is lost. When experts are put in the center, the wisdom of those on the margins is lost. So many untapped sources of wisdom waiting to be known. Makes one think that just maybe the wisest question that we may ask ourselves is, close your eyes for a moment, just a moment. We'll be right back. Just close them. Think of this question. Where have I not looked before? Where have I not looked before? Okay. One answer in one place that I offer, that I believe may be a key for your consideration and reflection. As a matter of fact, I wrote a poem about it. I'll dedicate this to Malodoma Somé. It's entitled Ancestor Logic. Ancestor logic is not logical. Ancestor logic is not biological. Ancestor logic is not psychological. In fact, ancestor logic is not logical at all. Not at all, man. Ancestor logic, you see, is not concerned about the person, neither the son of Per or the daughter of Her. Ancestor logic is before the self takes that ego, puts it on the shelf. It brings you here from kingdoms come. You see, ancestor logic is where we all come from. As in, it may have started with the sway of a hip or the wink of an eye, the magic of a smile, or maybe the sound of a simple sigh. Attraction, then acceptance, a hug, a kiss, a natural body click. 9 months later, you get a belly kick. Ancestor logic is not logical. What's logical about the sway of a hip or the wink of an eye? The magic of a smile or the sound of a sigh. Attraction, acceptance, a hug, a kiss, and a natural body click. Then 9 months later, you got a belly kick. You see, ancestor logic, 'tis the knowledge antiseptic. That's ancestor logic. Ancestor logic is pre-logical. That's ancestor logic. You see, the beginning in life is a hip sway or a smile. Nothing can stop it. True life is non-toxic. True life is ancestor logic. Blessed be. So wisdom is a gift. We pass it on to each other like a precious jewel. None of us wants to make the same mistake, so we generously share our advice. In other words, wisdom also connects us. It's not just something we collect to uplift ourselves. It's something we pass on so we can make it through together. Or to put it another way, wisdom and kindness are more closely linked than we may think or acknowledge. Speaking of acknowledgement, when was the last time you were wise enough to use what I call the three most powerful words in the English language? And they are, I don't know. Sandra Carey reminds us, quote, never mistake knowledge for wisdom. Never mistake knowledge for wisdom. Knowledge will help you make a living. Wisdom will help you make a life. And I met some wise people in my life, few of them. One comes to mind. Ma Grace. Ma Grace. Ma Grace was 107 years young when I met her, having graduated from high school at the spry age of 92. I see her now with her beanie cap on and her pink dress with her white apron, her hand in her inside of that apron where she also carried her little derringer, where she would say, yeah, these young fools walk up on me, they got another thing coming. Bless her soul. But she reminds me he's never too old to do anything. Very wise words. Speaking of wisdom, let me digress for a second and check on all the wisdom that's sitting out there at home right now, thousands of years when you add y'all all up on this call in this moment. So I want to quote this famous person. Tell me if he registers in your head. Quote goes like this. I want to paraphrase it a little bit, but here it is. Quote, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all people, though he says men, doubt you, make allowance for their doubting too. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run. Yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And which more? You'll be a man, my son. And being wise these days, yes, or my daughter, or my any gendered person of any order. So Ma Grace summed up Mr. Kipling that if you can keep your head in what's about you, regardless of what's happening around, what other people are doing or saying or acting or distracting, regardless of what is happening, if you can maintain that, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. Now, Ma Grace put this in her Black Mississippi way. She summed up Kipling simply by saying, she looked at me and I hear it, hey boy, no matter what's happening out there in the world, and no matter what nobody say about you, there's only one thing you gotta do. Just remember, I'm gonna ask you to join me. If you could just extend your right hand there like that and just hold it for a minute. Ma Grace say, no matter what's happening, always remember to keep your brain pan level. That's all you gotta do. No matter what's happening, keep your brain pan level. Yes, indeed. Now, one of my favorite shamans, quote, said this: the intuitive mind is a sacred gift. The rational mind is a faithful servant. End of quote. Say it again. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. End of quote. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. That shaman's name? Albert Einstein. Yeah, I call them shamans because in my culture we have another name for them, though we are more comfortable with the term quantum physicists. Jimmy said that knowledge speaks, but wisdom listens. Jimi Hendrix also said, and Dylan wrote, there are many here among us who feel that life is but a joke. But you and I, we've been through this, and this is not our fate. So let us stop talking falsely now. The hour is getting late. Emo Phillips said, yeah, I used to think that the brain was the most powerful organ in my body. Then I realized who was telling me that. Confucius said, there are three methods by which we learn wisdom. First, by reflection, which is the noblest. Second, by imitation. That is the easiest. And third, by experience, which he says is the bitterest. End of quote. So how about a UU minister and wise man, one William Ellery Channing? He says, and I quote, there are seasons in human affairs, inward and outward revolution. This is when new depths seem to be broken up in the soul. Kind of sound familiar? When new wants when new wants are unfolded in multitudes and a new and undefined good is thirsted for. Oh, that so sounds like now for me. Say that again. A new and undefined good is thirsted for. There are periods when to dare is the highest wisdom. So bear with me and join me here. Let's touch that heart together, if you would. Wherever you are, touch that heart. So I believe that the best teachers are those who teach about the heart. The wisest teachers are those who show us our heart. How to use your heart. How to be your heart. Blessed be. Amen. Ashe.
So, thank you, Anthony. Oh, it's so good to see you again. We'll close with Martha Sandifer's song, Building a New Way, about creating a more loving world. Feel free to join me if you'd like. The lyrics will be in the chat. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We We are working to be free of hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. 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 Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. And peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world would die. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are building a new way. Said we are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. Thanks all. So please, we invite you to join us for a virtual coffee hour after the service, which is going to be in a different Zoom room, not this one. And we'll meet as a large group to say hello, and then we'll go into smaller breakout groups for conversation. It'll just last 15, maybe 20 minutes. It'll be really nice to see each other, get to talk with each other. Or at least it'll be nice for me to get to see all of you. If you think that sounds nice, please join us. We're putting the number for that Zoom room in the chat right now, and it'll be on our final slide too. Oh, and there will be a separate kids coffee hour link that is in Compass. If you're watching on YouTube and haven't joined us in Zoom, you're welcome to join us as well. You would just go to zoom.us and join the meeting room. The number will be on the slide. It's in the chat. It's 939-8605-8339. And the password is coffee426 because of the date. Again, that's in the chat, and it will be on the slide at the end of the service. And now I invite Anthony back to give us some closing words.
Thank you, Benji. And thanks to all of you for joining, and thanks to all for the invitation back to hang out with the crew in Phoenix. I only think about you when I'm asleep or awake. So let's extinguish this chalice. Though not that fire of commitment and not the warmth of love that it represents. And may I say Ramadan Mubarak to all my Muslim siblings out there in the world. And let us go in joy and peace, and perhaps the peace that Black Elk speaks about when he speaks of the most important peace is the peace that resides within each of us and recognizes our connection to the universe and to its power. End of quote. So go in peace, go in love, until we are together again. Shalom, assalamu alaikum. Blessed be. Amen. Ashe.